Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to show you the basics of how to start and stop an activity on the Garmin Instinct Crossover watch. I'm using the solar version. Shouldn't matter whether you've got the solar or non-solar version. This video should work the same for everybody. I'll also say this is a very basic video. This is really more for the person who's out there. They've never had a Garmin watch before. They just want to see how you go out and do an activity on it. It's really very simple. You're going to start by pressing the top right button on the watch, which is your GPS button. When you press this, it's going to take you to your activities and application listing. Now, in my case, I've already gone through and I've chosen which activities I want to see in my listing. I've got walk, I've got hunt, I've got golf. If you go down, you will see your apps. So there's Navigate, Expedition, Track Me, Project Waypoint, so on and so forth. If there's something that I'm missing here, I could go to the bottom and I could do an add. The first time you go in, when you get your Garmin watch and you go into your activities and application listing, it will show you everything that comes on the watch, and then you basically go through and pick and choose the ones you want to see. For example, I know I'll never play pickleball, so I didn't want to see pickleball in the listing, but maybe there's somebody out there that does want to do that activity. They would put it in their listings. Now, this is just the simple starting and stopping of an activity. I always recommend before you go do an activity to customize the activity. So what am I talking about there? For example, in my listing I have walk, hunt, and golf. When I go do a walking activity, I might want to use different settings than a hunting activity. For example, when I walk, maybe I want my heart rate to be red and I don't want my GPS on. Whereas when I go on a hunting activity, I want the GPS on, I want to track temperature, but I don't care about heart rate. All of that stuff you can set up before you go into the activity. But we're going to choose the activity we want to do. In this example, let's go ahead and choose walk. I'm going to press GPS to select walk. You'll notice there's an option up here. It kind of shows me at a glance what I've got going on. The GPS is not connected. I have phone notifications on. My phone is connected basically. I have heart rate on. You can see that heart blinking. And then I've got a little icon here that says options. If I press the up button, I can go into my settings for the walk activity. This is what I was saying. I usually do this stuff first, get it all set up before I go in and do an activity. I want to go out and walk and just get going. All we're going to do is when we're ready to start the activity, we're going to press start button, and we have successfully started our walking activity. Now, you're not seeing a whole lot here because I'm not moving. The only thing you're seeing adjusting is the temperature. What you're seeing here is what I have set up for my walk activity. Yours might be totally different, or you could set it up to see what you want to see. For example, you might not care about the temperature. You might care about something else. Well, you would set that as your data field here. You don't have to stay in this screen, but the idea is while you're walking, you can glance at your wrist and you can see these data fields that you're curious about. However, I could press the back button and go back to my main watch face. My activity is still running in the background. It's still tracking my activity. If I wanted to go to it, I could press the start button and go right back into the activity. Once I'm done with the given activity, I'm again going to press the GPS button. That will temporarily stop it or basically pause it, and then I'm going to get a list of options. I can resume the activity. Maybe you were out walking, your neighbor started talking to you, you basically just wanted to press GPS to pause it. Now you want to resume the walk, you would press GPS for resume. If I'm done and I wanted to save the activity in my Garmin Connect app or my Garmin Connect account, I would press save. Resume later would mean I want to pause it, I don't want to save it, and I want to be able to come back to it and resume the same exact activity at a later point. I hardly ever use that feature, but that would be what that is for. I could change the sport. Maybe I was actually walking and I decided, you know what, I feel like doing a run, and I started running instead. I could go here and I could change it and say instead of a walk activity, let's change that to a running activity. If I wanted to record a lap, I could do a manual recording of a lap. And then finally, I could discard the activity. In this example, I'm just doing a video here. I don't want this saved to my account. Or maybe you started an activity, you realize I'm not going to have time to do this. You can basically just discard it, and it basically just forgets the whole thing. I get two options. I can either cancel the discard or I can confirm it. And we have successfully done the activity. Now, I'm still in the activity page. What I want to do here is I want to go ahead and press the back button. You always want to go back because when you're in that activity page, It's basically queuing everything up. For example, it's connecting to your GPS if you've got GPS on for that activity, and it's waiting for you to start the activity. When you go back to your watch face, it basically backs you out of the activity. So now if I press the start button, it takes me to my activity listing instead of having me actually in one of the activities. That is a big thing that I recommend, is always make sure you back all the way out of your activities, because it can really drain your battery if you leave it sitting in the walk activity and it's not going, because your GPS will still be connected if you've got the GPS on for that activity. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. I didn't want to go into too much detail, but that's the basics of how you start and stop an activity on your Garmin Instinct Crossover watch. I hope the video helps.